Well, welcome to another episode of The Wedding Club. We've got the famous MC of Australia, Nathan. How are you, Nathan?
Oh, good. I didn't realize my club membership finally because it got accepted. So it's great.
Mate, you win awards every week. You're like an incredible human. You do radio. Well, you tell us what you do, because you do quite a lot of things.
Yeah, so I'm a former cruise director, now professional MC full-time. I specialize in weddings, corporate events, virtually anything you can think of, from festivals, gala nights, costume work, charity nights, fun runs like Sydney Marathon, things like that. Oh, it's more than a fun run, but anyway. But no, the whole spectrum of that, plus TV soon, getting to TV soon.
You going to unveil some of that tonight?
Sorry?
Are you going to unveil some of that today? Or?
No, I don't have anything specifically to reveal just yet, but it's aspiring TV host, but I am
the first ones to know. See?
Absolutely. You've heard it here first. But also, yeah, community radio host up in Parramatta for Alive 90.5, trivia host, and a podcaster as well. And just, I don't know, anything I can get my hands on in terms of making people happy on a microphone.
Okay, beautiful. My God, look at you. You're a busy man.
Try to be.
You just told me before the podcast that Mondays are your most productive days.
It is, because most couples, particularly in the wedding world anyway, most couples are, back to work.
Yeah.
And so I can get in on any run sheet stuff or any other admin I need to do to get their approval for the later of the week. Venues usually are taking a day off, so I can get in things that I need to catch up on there as well. It's a bit quieter on the inbox scene, like yourself, which is great, because then I know that you'll come back to me on Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Also for corporates too, they're back in office on Mondays as well, so they certainly don't want to be bothered about things, so I can just get stuff done without the inbox going ding, 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 ding. It's bliss on a Mondays, but hard after a busy weekend, like on a Sunday wedding, finishing at 12 and back in the office on 8 o'clock on Monday. It's hard, but you do what you got to do.
So where do you find the energy? How do you find the energy to juggle all of this as an entrepreneur, business owner yourself? How do you do that? And now you've got a partner, there's a lot of things in your life
I'd say
that are happening.
Two motivations. One is generally, and I mean this as authentically as possible, genuinely, it is the connections and the lasting memories that I'm able to create with something that I'm blessed to have as a talent that I've fostered over many years, and now is something that people are prepared to pay money for, to have me there, trust that I can deliver on giving a whirlwind wedding experience for all the guests and the couples, to have something that people talk about for a long time to come. The other motivation is my background as a former cruise staff, cruise director in the cruise industry. You're working 24/7. And so because of that, you're just on constantly. And it either spits you out, throws you in the deep end, and you're either sink or swim when it comes to the cruise industry. And so for many years, from 2015, I've almost hit my 10-year anniversary since starting ships. And it was a journey where you couldn't switch off. You had to be there constantly. You're in front of your guests, you're being criticized and praised and evaluated by thousands of people in a single moment, and then they would leave and the next people would come. And that just forges you in fire. You just get molded like a piece of Play-Doh, and it's just something that I can't get out. It's in the blood now, and I just keep going until I stop.
Far out. It's like the Energizer battery, just doesn't finish. So let's take a step back. So you a cruise director.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that? And how did you get into that? And now how did that turn into an MC role?
Yeah.
Like that is so fascinating. Right?
It's a great question. The shorter version is, when I was 14, went on a cruise for the very first time as a kid and just absolutely loved it. I was a bullied child, and so from the age of 5, and so I was quite the introvert. I didn't understand myself and where my place was in the world, but I had a dream of just simply being able to perform in front of people as a public speaker since I started when I was in high school. And I just knew I was motivated by this desire to need to motivate people via my voice, to get my voice, which had people taken away from me through the childhood bullying, but to push through that by being somebody who could motivate people and give the best of myself to an audience via public speaking.
Man, so it was adversity.
To a degree. I mean, I saw these cruise directors and the cruise staff on stage, and I felt the things that I was eventually, I guess, offering to the guests that I eventually ended up hosting on board. And I was just like, I need to be able to make people feel like this one day. I need to be the person who can deliver this happiness, be an agent of happiness, and, be somebody who they could aspire to. And so over the course of many years, wanting to growing my public speaking skills, debating mock trials in high school, and formulating the debating society of University of Wollongong, I just kept this train of thought of, I'm going to be in performance. I'm going to be there. I became a paintball referee in my very first job when I was 16.
Damn.
And so loved every second of that, and that helped me to come out of my comfort zone. But then when it came to the time, the crux of it all was when I came to the end of my university degree, the last 6 months, and I had a choice to make. It was a fork in the road. It was either do what my degree said, which was marketing, or do I go and actually really come good on my promise to myself to become a cruise director? So I applied for a bunch of agencies and eventually got the role just before I graduated. And I was invited to join the Grand Princess 2015, January 3rd. So it's almost 10 years since that very fateful day. And it completely transformed my life. It turned me from someone that wasn't just capable of delivering a speech on stage. It would turn me into somebody who could use words in order to motivate feelings, emotions, and to invoke memories and feelings of joy and happiness well beyond the date of which that interaction took place. And I got to live the dream. And about 3.5 years into that, after I'd come into my own, learn how the value of my stagecraft, and really discover myself on stage and what I offer uniquely as a performer, I was then invited to become a fleet supervisor of entertainment experience. That was for the corporate team in Los Angeles at the time. And essentially my job then became to support my fellow colleagues, as well as create game shows and just travel around the world teaching my fellow colleagues how to be better performers. Obviously, COVID changed a lot of things for the industry, ours too, now that I work in, but I was living in LA at the time. Personal reasons brought me home. Professionally, I really had to evaluate what I was going to do, whether I wanted to go back or if I wanted to do something different. My brother's wedding was April 2021. And I met a lot of people there that night who had never met me on stage. They never seen me, friends and family, or others who I'd never met on my sister-in-law's side who I'd never encountered me or didn't know the new person I'd become. And so it was very clear to a number of them. They come to me and they said, do this as a job, get this as a business. So 2 weeks later, I registered the business name, got the website
That's
up
the
and
MC,
running. Correct,
the MC
yeah.
business, yeah.
As Nathan Cassar, Master Ceremonies. Yeah. And now, sort of skipping to today where I stand right now, I'm going to hit my 160th wedding in 2 weekends' time.
How long have you been in business? When
3.5 years. So April
fantastic.
2021, plus almost 100 corporate events in that space of time as well. So it's with at least, I think, in terms of accolades and so forth, over 30 industry awards and accolades over that period of time.
Did you say 30 awards?
I think so, unless I counted. Yeah.
How does that look like in your house? Is there a wall of...
I do have a couple of shelves that I've dedicated to them, but it doesn't sound as woo as that. But it's more or less for me it's more of a personal reflection on me in terms of what it represents is it's the trust that people within the industry, and most importantly in the wedding game, the couples that I've had, those 160 almost, who have placed trust in me and then have therefore went ahead and wanted to celebrate that and tell people that by not making a fee for different things. So it's more, I would argue, it's more an award for them to say, as a thank you and as a gratitude for the effort that I've put in. But then in turn, they've been grateful to have, I'm grateful I've had their support. So
the last wedding you had with us, well, it wasn't the last wedding, it was the first wedding you had with us officially. Mm-hmm. The couple actually gave you halfway through the wedding a golden statue, a golden trophy as the best MC in the world. You were meant to bring it today. You obviously did, and you put this box up here.
I know, it does
instead of it.
This box does represent
what is this?
Well, it's crazy. February 2022, 22nd, it was Ben and Ali. They were one of your sort of more first couples as well. I know from knowing have you started back in 21 as well. And so it was a time that I was really excited to come here. And I never forget ever, I was driving down the driveway.
21 or 22?
22.
Yeah, because we didn't start weddings till 22 because we were still in COVID 21.
Yeah, so it was 2 to 2. That's why they picked the date as well.
Yeah.
And I never forget, I drove in. I was just enamored by how beautiful it is. And it's in the marquee up on the right, the barn here where we're currently doing this podcast. And then I see Jane out there waving to people, saying hello. And I was like, This for me was just heaven because it reminded me on my time on ships when we would welcome people on board, and we would be the first touch point. Those who are responsible to host the event are responsible when I could just see, beautiful wives sitting there, wave everyone, helping us where they could go.
She was doing good. What was I doing?
Absolutely nothing. No, of course not. No, of course not. No, you were clearly busy elsewhere, and I got to meet you afterwards. But we worked together quite a lot when we were doing the main part of the reception. But it was just such a joy, and I remember the whole night being a whirlwind, and the couple were just so beautiful. I've met with them since. We shared dinner every once in a while, and we reflect on how beautiful the day was. But yes, this particular trophy is like a golden Shaw mic that's on a little stand, and it says Sydney's Best MC, February 2022. And it's funny because I think I remember myself saying on the video online, and it was like, oh, so I guess I'm just the best MC for this day only. Yeah. And then everyone laughed, But it was genuinely so. It was a really touching moment because, out of all the other accolades and awards, and don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful for them all. And it doesn't make me get a big head and I can't fit through the door. I try to really use it as a point of strength to keep me moving forward, to be better, be better.
Well, when I saw it, it was like they have so many things to organize. They have a whole wedding to plan. They have months of preparation, guest lists, run sheets, table layouts. For them to have the time and the energy to go out of their way and get you an award, to have it printed, to have it delivered to you on the day of their wedding, that is pretty special. That is very central. And it's like, you must be doing something exceptionally well for a couple to go out of their way to do that for you. That was beautiful.
I felt very touched. And it was obviously the start of my journey at that point still. I only had about, I think, 8 weddings down on my belt at that point. And so very new to the industry already, feeling something within myself that what I'm bringing as my brand of MC and my entry to the industry. I was very grateful. I was smiling all the way back home after it all. And obviously, because I got to meet you guys too. And I was like, met one of the best, venue coordinators and owners in the industry. And I'm at the best venue that I love. And I obviously fell in love with this place. No, of course you can use this. This is one of the best places in the world. Trust me. But I genuinely felt like I knew I was on the right pathway. And that transition from cruise director, which was really hard to leave. It was extremely hard to leave an environment where, let's face it, my bed was made for me. I was...
really? They make your bed?
Well, the position I had,
wow.
We had, food delivered. We had food every day for us. You're taken to all these beautiful places around the world, and you meet all these wonderful friends, and they become family to you for 6 months at a time, and much beyond that. And so it's an incredibly intoxicating place to live, eat, and breathe in. And so to move away from that, to start a new big scary journey as a sole trader MC with some very established people within this industry in a niche that often gets forgotten as well as being quote unquote unimportant, or a friend and family can do it. It certainly was very scary, but I've had a lot of great support from people like yourself and other venue owners who have helped me along this journey, who've embraced what I offer. But as I said, number one is the couples out there that have embraced what I could bring to their day. And so I just love every part of this job because it means I can help bring lasting memories.
What is it? What is your job? What is a master of ceremonies? What do you do for couples looking at, well, not just MCs, but planning their weddings?
Yeah.
What is a master of ceremonies? What do you do?
I describe it like this. If you really break down the word, we are the master of the ceremony. And that should entail literally everything from start to finish. And everything in terms of any part of the day that involves guests, and the main event being, of course, the couples out there. It's about them feeling like every part of their journey has been curated, held together, and every part of the experience is, without a doubt, people feel like they've been seen, heard, entertained, wined and dined, and everything else just makes sense. In order to accomplish that, it takes a couple of things. A really good MC is worth their weight in gold and more. And I don't mean that to sound salesy. I mean that in the sense that if you speak to any vendor out there, they're going to say this: MC makes or breaks a wedding. I've heard that from countless vendors. I know that you've said that specifically to me. I know that many, many people that are listening to this are going to be shaking their head, nodding their heads going, absolutely. But what's fascinating is that despite that, we only get booked for about 10 to 15% of weddings across the entire year, often being seen as a small talk on the microphone role, and that a friend or family or someone who's employed as a DJ primarily could then just make a few announcements. And unfortunately, that perception is rife and it's incorrect. We do so many things, from making high energy intros to liaising with friends and family, and of course our couples, to make sure that everything's been taken care of. Run sheets being done for them and being sent out to everybody so we're all on the same page. Liaising with people like yourself, photo video teams, DJs, to make sure we're all in the places we need to be, so that when speeches are done and when everything else is taking place, those moments are captured and felt by the audience 100%.
And I could see that as someone coordinating the weddings, getting your run sheet, for example, makes a difference.
Yeah.
It detailed, every vendor is on the same page, whether it's the caterer, whether it's the venue. It helps the day to run smoother. You do the background work before the day happens, so that on the day, yes, you are doing a lot of things on the actual day of the wedding, but also there is this prep time that goes with it.
We should also be making people like yourself, like venue coordinators, managers, for photo video teams, every vendor really, their day a lot easier.
Oh, yeah.
Because it means that we're providing that glue and we're deciding when things take place. We are basically executing. Nothing happens unless we get on the microphone and actually make it happen. But beyond that, and to sort of speak to sort of what I specifically try to bring, or at least what sort of those who are sort of more premium in the industry or have been around for a long time, a general expectation of any headline professional MC should be someone who has a great personality, someone who is relatively humorous without having necessarily be a comedian, so to speak, but someone who can drive laughter and create humorous moments. Someone who is, not afraid to get on the dance floor and have a bit of a boogie. But more importantly, also for what I offer personally.
I've seen you teach me some of the moves, some of the weddings.
One of the many things that I do, as you know, is that, I offer 10 games and activities, which I believe are the future of the industry.
Yep.
Where entertainment's going. People are moving away from, I think, things that are more expensive or perhaps tiny 15-minute experiences, and looking for things that really connect with an audience.
So what games? What games? What do you do?
Well, without obviously going to all of them, but certainly, games, for instance, such as the shoe game, which I'm sure many of the audience has heard of.
That's pretty cool.
To other different things I offer individually, like wedding couple true or false. It's a heads or tails trivia about the couple. Line dancing, which you were describing before, where I'm actually up there making sure the nut bush is in 7 different places. It's actually really hyped and a fun moment.
I wasn't born here, so that was the first time ever on the dance floor with like 50 guests out there, and me trying to learn how to do the nut bush with you kind of coordinating and leading the way. Man, that was a disaster. It was recorded. The DJ actually recorded it and posted that, which was...
Oh, he did. That is correct. But you did a great job, though, honestly.
Awful.
No, you undersell yourself. You have many talents. But look, there's many other different games that I offer as well that are more unique, or they become a bit more popular, like Ultimate Scavenger Showdown, which is a very, very viral, popular game involving grabbing stuff and
that's pretty cool.
Chairs and stuff. So there's all of these. Look, couples are probably there's two camps of people when they hear this kind of stuff. They go, "Oh, I don't know if that's going to fit my audience," or B, "Wow, that actually sounds great. Book me up now. Like, sell me now on it. Tell me I want 4 games in the mix." For those who are obviously sold on it, that's fantastic, because I can promise you that these kind of things, along with the rest of the package, including having everything taken care of, run sheets, all the coordination, all that kind of stuff, really makes a very, very robust evening take place where people can talk about it for the rest of your lives. For those who are not quite sold on it, there's 2 responses to that. One, if you don't want it, that's great. I do about 25% of my weddings where people don't pick them, but they're not picking me specifically because, it's games or nothing. I don't need them to drive a really great evening, because at a baseline, my overall goal is to make sure people feel connected from table to table. People feel like they have something to talk about, and they feel like everything moves in a smooth way, and feels like that everything just went well. It was great. It was fun. It was high energy, but it went well. For those who are not, or maybe on the fence a little bit still, on the other side of the coin, which is, we can be convinced for it. Well, certainly I would challenge you to look at some of the things that are out there, particularly my website. I have an entire blog dedicated to showcasing, all my YouTube videos showcase how much fun the audience has with this, even let alone the couples themselves. But I don't mean it to be something that I harp on in the sense that you have to have them. But I think where the industry's moving is a more umbrella kind of discussion. The industry's moving in a way where I think guests are finally going away from this idea of having to be put on a pedestal and people and your guests are watching an experience take place. We're living in an era where people want to feel immersed and they want to feel like they're a part of something. And so I know the better weddings that I've seen, and of course, as a guest, but also as a host, are the ones where guests walk away going, yep, I felt like I was a part of that. I felt like the couple saw us. We weren't just propped there eating food and listening to music and saying hello to them and putting them up on a pedestal and then going home. Well, they want to feel like they're connected to it.
Yeah, it's an experience. It's a vibe, you know, and having someone lead the way throughout the day, I think a lot of people underestimate that. They underestimate what it takes to create that feeling and that experience throughout the entire day. So that's where you come in.
And it's a lot. Like, this is 10 years of my experience and some from all the other stuff I've done in my past to bring people together consistently with an energy that continues to go up and up and up. If you can imagine this, and to really break it down into practical terms here, let's take an example. If you don't want to start off a poor way, because then you set the tone for the evening, you want a high energy intro, one that reflects your personality. You may be coming in with just the two of you. You may be coming in with your entire entourage. It doesn't matter. You want an experience where it starts to show, people feel like that they're going to be getting something better than just, oh, I put my suit on and it's okay, it's a normal, boring wedding or nothing. You start there. And this also happens, I'm going around talking, mingling with people as well, getting to know people during canapes and everything else like that, familiarizing myself with your guests, getting to know exactly who's who in the zoo.
Yeah, I've seen you do a lot of that.
So it's important and to be part of the job.
So you get out there and throughout canapes, throughout breaks during the reception, you get out there and you speak to the guests.
Absolutely.
You get to know them. I see you as a coordinator of the wedding. I see you almost becoming as the best friend of the bride and groom.
True, yeah.
You're there to help them with anything they need, like help the day to run smoothly, to get to know their guests, and then to make sure that they are taken care of.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Which is pretty cool because a lot of brides and grooms do need that on the day. And yes, some of them can use their bridesmaids, their groomsmen, and because they are really close with them. However, they come without, most of the time, any experience in running a wedding, coordinating a wedding, knowing where to go, who to speak to. Whereas here, they hire someone who can actually do that for them. They've done it before, and they can just relax.
And I think it speaks to something else too about the fact that when you're, because obviously addressing the elephant in the room about, oh, you know, this is all great, Nathan, but like we can save money and just get our friend and family to do it instead. But this is obviously, you know, maybe I go back to before about how you talk to any vendor and they'll say that a proper MC will make or break. And this is the case when it comes to friends and families as well. It's like, you know, I respect that the idea is that they quote unquote know you, but I would challenge anybody watching this to go to, for instance, my ABO Weddings page where the majority of my weddings reviews are located. And I would challenge them to mark the amount of times on a piece of paper, how many times people will relate directly on, you know, in black and white, how they felt like I was part of the family. And that's not contrived. Yeah, this is not something that just, it doesn't happen unless you are skilled at being able to connect with people. And this includes, like I said before, about mingling and mixing with people and getting to know people, jumping on the dance floor. The games ran in a really, you know, emotionally connecting kind of way where it feels like I'm familiar. But it's not fake. Like, I would challenge anybody also to try to challenge me on that, to say, oh, are you being fake about this? No, I genuinely love what I do. And those 4 or 5 hours that I have these guests in my quote unquote control, I'm there to make sure that they feel like they're part of the family, no matter what. And it's absolutely critical that you must realize that a friend and family cannot accomplish this. You can't expect somebody to work, which is essentially a job, for the entire evening when they would prefer to be relaxed. The amount of people I meet who are just terrified to do their speech, let alone, which is fine, that's valid, let alone having to carry the entire night, which more often than not, the microphone ends up getting handed to the venue coordinator either way, who are not paid to do their job, but they have to step it in. Or it's handed to the DJ, who again, not paid to do that because that wasn't the DJ MC contract they have, but they do it because they feel obligated to make sure the night doesn't go badly. Whereas if you have someone like myself who, yeah, as you said, is your best friend, your confidant, everything else in between, it's all done. It's just you have a person in your camp the whole entire step of the way. Having someone who's external to the family and friendship networks means the microphone is in my control. People feel less enticed to be rogue and say something that's odd or offensive. Obviously, I have a duty of care to make sure that everyone feels safe and happy and that they're not feeling like, you know, obviously I have to make sure I keep myself in check and where my boundaries lie and all that. And so there's a lot more of an uptick and you get a better experience. And if I'm just going to say it plainly, you get a better experience if you have a professional MC than if you do a friend and family, full stop.
So, you mentioned you have to pick your tone, pick your words during a wedding. That would be a challenge. You have 100 people in the room.
Yeah.
You're running it, you're coordinating it, you're cracking jokes. You have to make it in a way that, doesn't cross the boundaries, is entertaining. How do you manage that?
Yeah, so it starts with essentially getting to know people, right? And so that is the biggest part. I always stress to any MCs also, or any celebrants or DJ MCs, this is something that I teach in masterclasses to them. And I say, look, you must get to know your audience on that fundamental level of just getting out there amongst, get away from the DJ booth, get out or get away from thinking, oh, I've done my celebrant part. I can just sit in the room like a wallflower and then hope that when I get in there, I can just say my announcements and go home. You must interact with people. If your goal is to be somebody who is known as a great host, you want that, you're selling that MC service, you must connect with people. And that actually doesn't come from delivering announcements from the front of the stage, because people treat you differently if they don't know you, if they feel that you're an unknown entity versus somebody who they're prepared to hoop and holler and cheer for, potentially if they have some familiarity with you when you come into the space. That relationship continues to climb like a graph constantly throughout the night, where you're also taking them on that journey of energy as well.
Yeah.
But
you're
also,
dancing with them at the end.
Absolutely.
You're on it.
But I can't get there and they can't accept me on the dance floor if I haven't taken them on that sort of upward
Of course.
journey.
Oh, they wouldn't know you. See, like the fact that you get to know the guests, throughout the whole day means once the dancing begins, you're not a stranger on the dance floor. You're part of the crew.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's so critical. It's so critical that is how, that is, people say, how have you got so many weddings in this period of time? Or how was your journey? How can you describe your journey? And I say, well, that's what people have identified as part of what I offer. It's that, I come from a school of thought that is, the central idea is you mix and mingle with thousands of people on a ship. Every day you must make new connections.
Yeah.
And so for me now, it translates extremely one-to-one when it comes to a wedding or a corporate event. It's essential. Look, we're human beings. Doesn't matter what kind of event it is. Human beings connecting with other human beings here for some sort of central goal or purpose to celebrate something. In this context, it's celebrating the union of two beautiful people who you've been invited to come along and share their special day. And so there is nothing more that people want to do on this day except express their happiness and desire to get involved. And so that's what I like to tap into. It's just to bring out the best in people well beyond what they anticipate. I've had so many people come to me and say, I didn't expect this night to be so fun.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason is because most people think that weddings are kind of boring these days, or at least that they're not as exciting as they used to be. Putting on the suit or a nice dress is perhaps not as fun, or you got to drive further distances. After COVID particularly, people like to stay indoors a lot more. They like to save some money. And so you're making you're asking your guests a big commitment to go out and celebrate this. As much as it seems unfair that to hear this kind of concept that people should be grateful to come to your wedding, well, I'm sorry, but they're actually also making a unanimous choice to want to be there for you. And so there is a bilateral relationship. Of course, you make them feel wine and dine. You make them feel special. You make them feel like they've got all the components to have a great event. Absolutely. Your guests are going to shower you with love like you wouldn't believe, and they'll be telling you for the rest of their time that your wedding was the best one. But if you forget your audience, which can include, but not limited to, not having a host like myself that is seeing them constantly and making sure that things are not cringy or non-smooth or rough edges and everything else in between, or things going wrong on awry, and dance floors that maybe only last 20 minutes because things went too late, or et cetera, et cetera. If you're not ticking those boxes or having those things prepared, you run the risk of, people just going, look, congratulations on getting married, and ending the conversation there. And I don't think anybody wants to spend 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 plus $1,000 on an event that people don't want to talk about.
No. And that's a big thing for us as well, is the experience, not just for the couple, but for the guests. And what will they remember from your wedding? It's critical, and MC plays a critical role in making sure that all of that flows. It's not,
and also it's highlighted too. It's like, oh, look over here, because this particular thing is great, and wow, that was a fantastic speech. Another round of applause. Get involved in that. Or here's the dance floor. What a buzz! Oh, you're a DJ, play another song. Like, there are all those components plus so many more things in the background, like communicating to the back of house, communicating to yourself, talking to your photographer 5-10 minutes beforehand, so they're set up and the lighting's correct and there's the right spot versus some janky position that has a bad backdrop and the photos are wrong and everything else that I challenge you, go to your vendors and say, if you have not booked an MC, doesn't have to be me, it's okay. Plenty of people out there. I value the fact that there are plenty of choices. But what I will say is, I challenge you and ask, do we need an MC? Have you seen weddings? What would you argue that weddings are better when there's a professional MC? I argue, and I stake my entire reputation on this, that more often than not, 9.99% of the time, your vendors will say a professional MC is the way to go.
Beautiful. My goodness. And you would have seen a lot of things.
Yeah.
How many? 170 weddings?
160 almost. Yeah.
160. What are some of the cool stories? What have you seen? What have you experienced that just gets you? Yeah, that would make a great story.
Yeah. Well, there was one of my grooms. It was a wedding in Canberra, and he left the wedding in a ambulance. He got a little bit inebriated, enjoyed his time, and decided to show off his worm skills. Unfortunately, he ended up, as he went down to do the worm, he actually chipped his front teeth and left in an ambulance. So that was fun. Using good spirits, though.
Well, they called an ambulance for that.
Well, I mean, because it was late at night, so they, they didn't have much transport. They were going to go somewhere else, so might as well call the ambulance to go, right? Oh. So that's what happened for him. That was fun.
Classic worm.
I know, right? Oh, gee.
Worms don't have teeth, so it made sense.
Yeah, I've had a couple come in they came in separately. The bride came into an anime. She had this beautiful anime style fairy dress with like wands and everything. It was so lovely.
This is the bride?
This is the bride. Yep. And then as she got to the front, the whole theatrics was I was going to invite them both, obviously, as a normal entrance. No. They're both their names. And then she came in and they said, where is he? Where is he at? And they where's Renato? And then all of a sudden he comes in with the WWE, with sparkles and everything. And he comes in and with the big belt thing.
John Cena.
Yeah, kind of thing. He comes in. I was like, where are you? Can't see. But he comes in and obviously it was a lot of fun. It was so them, it was so them. Oh, gee, there are so many great ways that people have personalized the way that they do their weddings and, from the slips like cracking your teeth to just fun little things like the WWE entrance. I think I overall just encourage people to just make it their own. Just whatever feels comfortable. When you wake up on your wedding day, know that everything that you're going to be doing on that day is exactly what feels most comfortable and true to yourself. And that's where these beautiful moments come about.
How good's that? Wow. That's awesome. With the worm. So what's this?
The box?
Yeah.
It's a cool looking box.
Oh, okay. I thought that was meant to represent something.
It is. It does have a representative something, actually. It does sort of represent what I call my mental treasure chest of goodies when it comes to my MC skills. So basically, I always teach people that, because people ask all the time, like, because I'm an improvisational host. So people ask me and they say, how do you keep things humorous and funny and all that without obviously resulting to dad jokes and cringy stuff? Because I don't do any of that stuff. And I say, well, look, the way that improv works, it's very simple. Improv seems like it's completely contrived and comes out of nowhere, but it actually really is a series of mental safety nets and what I like to call my mental treasure trove of stuff. And basically, every time I say something on stage that really resonates with the crowd, I sort of put it into the box. And inside my head, of course, not this one. And then basically, every time something comes about that relates to it, I'm picking these things out and then saying it. As a great example, whenever someone mentions different places where they're from, I love what I call geography humor. So for instance, like I will, someone says they're from Canberra. Everyone knows in the treasure chest, everyone finds it funny that Canberra is really boring. So I will say, because it's all full of public servants and all. I'm not being as generalized as that, but certainly like as a funny, quip, it's like, oh, you're from Canberra. Okay, wow, this must be the most exciting day of your life kind of thing. Obviously in jest.
I was a public servant once, yeah.
I know.
You're right about
but you're cool now. So we like you now. But, things like that sit inside the box that then I'm able to bring out. And usually that's just how fun moments come to life. So that's, particularly in conversations I'll have off stage, but also on stage, often that's where it sort of comes to life. So
fantastic. I would just like to say thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I think with your talent and your expertise and the awards and accolades you have in this area, you have transformed the industry over the last few years. You've made a dent in what professional masters of ceremony should do, should look like. Just by the way, this man has a collection of suits and bow ties like you've never seen before. And that's part of it, you know, how you look, how you present. He's got a mic with a shape of a heart with his name on it. It's fantastic. So I think on behalf of the industry and the couples, I want to thank you. Thank you for coming out, sharing your thoughts.
Oh, thank you.
And good luck with everything you've got planned.
Appreciate it. I just can't wait to my next wedding at Growwild. Always a great journey down here. I've even coming down on a day that's not a wedding day is always a pleasure. So I appreciate your commentary and I just, thank the industry back and thank the couples back for having had the faith and trust in me to deliver something that is unique. However, at the same time is, really has resonated in a way that I just get to do the thing that I love the most, which is spreading joy and happiness and lasting memories. So thank you to anyone that's watching who's either been a former couple of ours that I've been here, or for those who are thinking in the future, thank you for trusting me in what we do. And just thank you for picking a professional MC because you won't regret it.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.